Hey boss, Chad Hedrick here, The Roof Coating Life. Today we're going to cover a topic that is really key in helping cover your butt when it comes to bidding a job. Alright guys, key thing when it comes to whether it's a roof coating project that we specialize in or any other type of project, when you're going to do some sort of restoration, inspections are absolutely key. Most guys do not spend enough time on the inspection to cover all of the avenues of issues and liability. This is something key, guys, you have to really take to note. On your inspections, first thing we do, I'll give you a little synopsis of what we do when we're bidding projects. As soon as we get the lead from any of our lead generation, we basically immediately, as soon as we have an address, we jump on and we use a product called Planometer. Some of you may use it or may never heard of it, but Planometer is just a simple iPhone app that we actually use to, as soon as we have that address, we zoom in, take a look at it, measure from the app, get an idea. You can use, iRoofing or there's several. I mean, you can get an Eagle View or a Gemini on it, but whatever it is, get an aerial view along with the dimensions. One of the key things about getting the aerial view is to also look at the date of the image. That can be a really key thing for the fact of you show up today and look at a roof and it hasn't rained in, 6 weeks, but the video was, or the picture of it was shot for the imaging was shot in April when it rains a lot, and you see an area that looks good. I don't think we have any ponding water here. Then you do the project or get ready to do the project and you show up and 30% of the roof is under a pond, but it hadn't rained in 6 weeks, so you didn't know that. So knowing the image date is a huge thing. So that's something you need to take to note. Secondly, guys, by knowing the image date and looking at an aerial, you can see the discoloration. A lot of times discoloration shows up a lot better looking down than it does looking this way. So when you're up there walking a roof, you might see some discoloration, but you don't see near as much as you do when you're looking down at it from a bird's eye view. So look at that image from the aerial, pinpoint those print out your picture of that and mark those spots. So when you go to that actual job, you actually have a little more of mental clarity of, okay, we know these are probably our possibility of our problem areas. And then when you do your inspection, you immediately start with the inside and you go inside and you ask, okay, where are your leaks at now? Show me where they're at. And then you can start correlating. You're building this basically roadmap or building the book of this entire project. So once you actually go inside, see where their leaks or their problem areas are at, and guys, do whatever you have to do to have them show you that, because a lot of buildings are like, oh no, we really don't have that many issues, and you look up and you got ceiling tiles stained everywhere. So they do have leaks or they wouldn't have called you. But now you've done an inside inspection. You've seen where those are at. You have your aerial look. Now we're actually getting on the roof and get to do a couple other things. Let's say today we're just going to talk about a TPO, existing TPO roof. Okay, so we're going to be able to look at, we're going to obviously go across, look at all the seams. How are our seams holding? Are they starting to let go where there's some not very good welds, some cold welds that are kind of letting go, or are they starting to see some scrim? If it's an early Gen 1 or Gen 2, you're starting to see some of that scrim. The ponding issues we talked about earlier, any of those things. Has there been any type of rooftop contamination that has caused a cracking or alligatoring of the surface coat? Whatever it is, make note of all those on your actual diagram that you have from your aerial before you went. You've already got that. Double check your dimensions, obviously. So you're going to double check your dimensions. See if there's any pipes or protrusions or HVAC stuff that's been added since the aerial. Don't always count on that aerial as the go-to every time, because they may have added things since then. So make sure that your aerials and the as-built or the current is actually the same. So in doing that, you've got a really good picture of what you have. Then guys, do not care unless it's a metal roof. Core sample every roof in multiple locations. Get permission from the building owner, obviously, but you have to core because a couple things. If there's already 2 roofs on, code says no more than 2 roofs can be put on. So that buys 2 things. As a fluid applied contractor, does it pertain to you? Yes, it does, because there's a couple things that you got to pay attention to, especially with code and where you're at. But we also have the ability of, we can do a fluid applied system over a lot of second roofs because we're not adding any weight. We're adding literally 8 to 10 ounces a square foot. So me standing on the roof adds more pounds per square foot than our coating system does. So code a lot of times will allow us to come in and restore that second roof without tearing it off. So that's a huge bidding advantage for you. And it may be the only way that that building owner can actually meet their financial ability, you know. So outside of that, once you've done all these core samples, you get to see what, if there's any moisture. Take a couple Ziploc bags, toss your core sample in while you go do your next core samples. It takes minutes, guys. On a sunny day, 1 to 2 minutes, and you'll have condensation build up on the inside if there's any moisture available. So if that thing has any moisture and all wet in it, you just Ziploc that bag, put it together, and you are perfectly fine. So you've done that visual, you've got all those things done, you've done your core samples. Now, guys, is something that a lot of guys don't really take the time to pay attention to, and that is look at your surroundings. Where are you going to stage? Where are you going to be able to set your pump? Where is the water run off when you clean that roof? Does it run into the city street? Does it run across a nice new parking lot? Where does that go? All of those are things. Look at your prevailing winds. Look at the direction or the orientation of that building. Which direction is the prevailing winds? So if you know in the summer you're going to have a south or southwest wind and you have a parking lot on the north side of the building, you have to bring that up to the building owner from the get-go and say, our pricing, you know, when we think of designing and putting together our proposal for you, that is a solution. Our proposal is a solution. It's not a bid. We don't bid. We give proposals because we're proposing solutions. And we have to meet this need. And this issue is you have a parking lot on the north side of the building with southern prevailing winds. That is going to be an issue. So do you have the ability to move that? Are we going to put car covers on those? What is it that we have to do? So those are some key things, guys. Your prevailing winds are thing, but along that, your perimeter. Are you going to be able to set up a 6-foot perimeter warning line system? How are you going to tie in all that? Your entrance and egress. Are you going to have to come through the building? Can you get up to it? A lot of times you don't even have access. You can get a ladder if the building's tall enough. So all of those, guys, are key things that you need to pay attention to. We're actually going to put a download of a PDF that actually is a checklist of things to look for when you're doing inspections. You'll be able to find those. And so, guys, take these tips, put them together, put them in play in all of your inspections, and there will be some of the keys that will help you bid jobs more accurately and have your butt covered to where you don't have some of those unknowns or uh-ohs pop up. Thanks for watching. Use these tips to live the roof coating life like a boss.